If typical dungeon crawlers just aren't meat enough for you, this might be more your speed. Hey people, voice talking to you, and this is Spark in the Dark, a brutal dungeon crawler roguelike where any mistake could be fatal. If you'd like to try this game out for yourself or see my full playthrough stream, there are links to both down in the description. We are a member of the Cursed Garrison, an expeditionary force dedicated to guarding and exploring the dungeon of Dargroth. This fallen civilization left behind a vast labyrinth of ruins that stretches deep beneath the earth. Said to be crafted from the evil magic of a dark god, the dungeon is said to contain powerful weapons from ancient wars, as well as the horrible monsters and sinister traps born from those conflicts. Now, not everyone in the Cursed Garrison is there by choice, but in fact, the majority of the Cursed soldiers are convicted criminals, including us. Depending on which class we choose, our backstory will shift somewhat, but it always comes down to being convicted and sentenced to the garrison. Though the dungeon is typically a death sentence, it also offers a chance at salvation. If a garrison soldier performs admirably by surviving numerous raids, hunting a particular threat, or escaping with a vital artifact from the dungeon's depths, they will be pardoned by the king and set free. That said, most, if not all, of the garrison's men are swallowed by the dungeon before they can claim their freedom. After being pressed into service, we are eventually sent into the dungeon on an expedition of our own, but a sudden cave-in leaves most of our comrades dead, and escape all but impossible. Alone, poorly equipped, and burdened by our fragile mortality, our only chance at survival lies deeper within the darkness. But before each run, we can choose from one of a few different classes. Each has their own abilities, weapon perks, and survival skills. The blacksmith is a hammer-wielding warrior specializing in gear maintenance and upgrades. Soldiers are defensive fighters that get bonuses from winning battles and can boost the damage of their weapons. The thief is a stealth-based class with excellent night vision that uses daggers to strike foes from behind. Lastly, the hunter is a tactical ranged fighter that uses traps and crossbows to keep enemies at a distance. Each of these classes changes up gameplay both in and out of combat, including their own unique mechanics that help make up for the overlap between armor and weapon usage. That said, in a game with such a tight replay loop, the developers are going to want to include as many different ways to play as possible. So these are a good start, but more classes and maybe even differing loadouts or subclasses are going to be important to keep players coming back. With a weapon in your hand and armor on your back, it might feel like you're ready to take on the dungeon. But this particular dungeon is a bit like an angry ex. It's gloomy, it won't tell you what you did wrong, and it will take literally any opportunity to kill you. Plus, it's full of spiders. That's a story for another time. The atmosphere here is incredible, and the effects of light and shadow make the claustrophobic corridors feel sinister, which they are. That chest you found? Full of poison. The dead guy with the cool armor? Not actually dead. This potion you picked up? Also poison. That lamp you saw in a safe room? No. Turn on the light? I don't like this dungeon. It's scary in here. Joking aside, I need to be as clear as possible about the difficulty of this game, because some players just aren't gonna like it. This game will not hold your hand. It will not tell you where to go, and it will not get easier. It will punish you for every mistake. It will test your patience, and it will force you to start over when you inevitably die. This title is a true roguelike, which means that death equals a full reset. No items or advancements carry over, so the only thing you retain between characters will be your knowledge of the game and a crushing way to failure. That means that learning from your deaths is the only way to get better, so if you're not fond of games where you die a lot, then this might not be for you. But if you insist on facing the dungeon regardless, then there's a few things that every curse needs to know. Number 1. Stay in the light. The dark can kill you. Be it from some sinister magic or unresolved childhood trauma, our character cannot survive in the dark. Not only does the darkness make it harder to spot monsters, traps, and everything else that wants to kill you, but being in the dark too long will gradually drain your health. On the other hand, wall-mounted lamps will automatically remove most negative conditions and restore your health, so moving from lamp to lamp is the best way to stay alive. We can also find portable lamps to keep us from being swallowed by the darkness, but they are rare and limited. Number 2. Watch where you step. The floor can kill you. Not only are there small bits of loot and loose weapons scattered around here and there in the dungeon, but the darkened corridors are also full of pitfalls, bear traps, and poison mines. These traps are extremely hard to spot, and stepping in one at the wrong time could spell the end for you. Or you could lead unsuspecting monsters into them and use these tricks to your advantage. Number 3. Rest frequently or your wounds could kill you. Taking hits in combat doesn't just deal damage to our puny health bar. Each hit also has the chance to slap us with some pretty awful afflictions. Poison can drain our health, rot can hinder our stats, and deep wounds can limit our stamina and mobility. These debuffs stack up fast, and after a while you won't be able to get rid of them with lamp therapy anymore. You'll need to rest. Resting is a major part of survival, and not just for preventing fatigue. Each time we rest, our character will make a little journal entry that helps progress the story and recounts all the neat things that happened, including new monster encounters and interesting landmarks. We can also read any books or recipes we found and use tools and whetstones to repair or upgrade our weapons and do any crafting that our class allows us to. Number 4, take care of your stuff, because broken gear makes it easier to kill you. All equipment will degrade over time, and it will degrade much faster when blocking or delivering hits. As the condition of your armor and weapons degrade, they'll gain massive debuffs to damage and protection values. Your equipment becomes especially important when you realize that it's effectively the only way for you to get stronger. Whether you found it on a corpse or inside some chest, the stats of each item are slightly randomized. That means there's always a chance that whatever loot you find is just a bit stronger or lighter or more durable than what you already have. That said, remember that this is a game shooting for realism, so you can only carry one suit of armor at a time, that being the one you're wearing. You can only carry weapons you have equipped, and though other items like potions and tools can be stuffed in our bag, everything has weight. Weaker characters have a lower carry weight, and even items you have equipped subtract from that. We can quickly cycle between short weapons, long weapons, and crossbows during combat, so you can carry a backup if something breaks, but the heavier your armor and weapons, the less potions, ammo, and lockpicks you can carry. Finally, number 5, stay paranoid, because yes, everything wants to kill you, especially the monsters. Combat is pretty basic. We can attack, block, and dodge. It's plenty challenging, don't get me wrong, but it isn't especially engaging. Every combat can end your run, and there is a couple of tricks to learn, but the anxiety of battle kind of wears off when it gets to be repetitive. For combat mechanics, I think Spark in the Dark fell into the same trap as a lot of hardcore RPGs. They spent so much effort into making the combat more difficult that they forgot to make it fun. The controls are inconsistent and clunky, and even when you win, it doesn't really feel good. I'll also admit that not having any way to level up our character or even improve them beyond getting lucky with new gear is pretty unsatisfying. The majority of the loot we will find is just going to be more consumables and bits to weigh us down, and we can barely carry our own equipment as it is. Aside from raising the carry weight and increasing the time between rests, there are some hard oversights in mechanics aside from quality of life. For one, the stealth system feels pretty crummy. Thieves and hunters rely on it, but you can't sneak with the light on, and most monsters worth sneaking up on can see in the dark anyways, making it pointless to take the risk of sneaking around. Actually, the thief class is just really underpowered. The backstab is cool, but enemies turn super fast, and even when you do finally manage to get behind a giant spider, you learn it can attack backwards and get pinned to a wall. Cool surprise for any class but a thief, because then you can't use your only combat skill. Now, I respect the ruthless spirit of this title, and the lethal environment of the dungeon makes hardcore crawlers like me want to dive as many times as it takes to win. But they also need to balance things out a bit and make the controls and combat smoother so that death feels more like a mistake you can learn from rather than an unavoidable eventuality. Fortunately, this is just a demo, and since I love literally everything else about the game's concept, I'm absolutely going to be keeping an eye on this title while it develops. But I'm also just the voice in your head, so how do you feel about Spark in the Dark? Is this one of those games where dying a lot would frustrate you, or are you the kind of player that sees that as a challenge? Does the story take a backseat here, or are you dying to know more? What changes would you like to see in the finished game? Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, leaving a like or a comment helps me out a ton and keeps the spiders from eating me. If you want to see more, subscribing is the best way to support the channel and keep new content coming your way because I put out new stuff every week. Thanks so much for listening to me today, and you'll be hearing from me again real soon. What am I stepping on? That is poisoning me. Hopefully this isn't poison. It's rat poison. Why is it always poison?